Good morning, welcome back. It's the final push. Today I have to cross the Atlas Mountains. That's 5 hours, 250 kilometers across nothing but tight winding bends. It will go over, or the Atlas Mountains are over 4 kilometers high. So it's going to be a massive day. And I've got a huge problem because last night I went to a restaurant. I sat down for about 2 hours to eat. It took me all evening. But I get to the restaurant and I say, j'ai faim, je voudrais un grand plat. I'm hungry, I want a big plate. And the restaurant owner said, how big do you want it? For 2 people, for 3? And I said, per 3 personnes, for 3 people. And he said, it's going to cost you more. So I said, of course, that's fine. He brings out the plate, freshly cooks it, brings in all the food. It takes an hour and a quarter to make. It was delicious. And afterwards, I said, how much is it? And he said, well, how much are you willing to pay? I said, look, I don't know. How much is it for 1 person? We'll times it by 3. And it ended up costing 350 dirham, 350 of the local currency. To give you some relativity, I paid 10 dirham for a little egg bap. So it was worth it, but it was a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. And the reason I'm saying that took up half of my remaining cash. Now I've gone to try and pay here at the hotel. Guess what? They only take cash as well. And that means that they will have taken all of my cash apart from £6 worth. Yesterday there were no cash points that I could actually use to take money out. There were also no petrol stations I went past that took card payment. So I'm in a situation where I've got 90 miles fuel in the Bonneville. I've got enough cash, £6 equivalent, to buy 60 extra miles worth of fuel. That's 150 miles. But it's 250 kilometers to my location in Ouarzazate, the gateway to the Sahara. And I've got to climb an elevation possibly, I don't know how high, 3 kilometers high with tight winding bends. That's going to use up way more of my fuel. I also, of course, can't buy food because every food outlet, every shop here, they only, of course, accept cash payments. So this is my breakfast. And this will have to be my lunch and my dinner if it takes me too long to get there. So I'm in a funny situation where I've got no food, no cash, probably can't get fuel, and I've got to cross a colossal mountain range. I'm a bit apprehensive. I wouldn't be at all if I had money. It's going to be an interesting day. It's early. I need to head off early. It's 8:30 to at least give myself time in case something goes wrong. I mean, I don't know what I'll do with that time, but at least I'll have time. Here we go. Crisis over already. I feel completely relieved. The owner of the property said that the pharmacy here may be able to give me money if I pay them commission. So I paid them commission and got the money out. So now I've got more than enough money to tide me over. So now I can just enjoy the Atlas Mountains with no worries, no concerns. It feels brilliant. Well, it's amazing the difference having cash in your pocket makes, because I was able to have breakfast, which I wasn't expecting, and I filled up the Bonneville, which again, I wasn't expecting. So I honestly now feel there's nothing stopping me from the final step in the journey. In fact, I'm so confident I specifically put the highest, most direct point through the Atlas Mountains. So I think, to the best of my knowledge, I will pass the highest road through the Atlas Mountains. The town that we just passed, I think, was the gateway town, because there were a huge amount of expedition vehicles, 1980s Mercedes and Ford Transit vans, all stacked up, roof racks on top, ready to head off on an adventure. Breakfast this morning, 21 dirham, and that's about £1.80 or so. Makes me think that I was ripped off yesterday for dinner, because for dinner I paid 350 dirham, and for breakfast this morning, 21 dirham. It's a good lesson for me. You'll notice I've been wearing the Hood Jeans K7. Hood Jeans are celebrating their 25th year of service this year in 2023, and this, funnily enough, is their first ever model that they brought out all those years ago. The Easy Fit K7, AAA rated, and it's just been awarded the Gold Standard by Bennett's, and AAA rating, of course, is the highest standard safety rating. And the easy fit nature of them means that they've just been so comfortable, even in 32-degree heat, even right now, just beautifully comfortable all day, everyday comfort. And I think, probably hand on heart, they're my favourite pair of biking jeans. So if you're in the market for a new pair of jeans, I very highly recommend them. Okay. In the distance that way, the high Atlas Mountains, and I've got a really strong feeling that this could be some of the best motorcycle riding I've ever experienced in my life. I maybe naively, thought this would be a bit of a biking mecca, and there'd be loads of other bikers, Italians, French, maybe Germans, using this road, and it would be paved or tarmacked. But a huge chunk is unmade roads like this, dirt tracks. So it takes a lot longer than I was expecting. As far as I can see, it's all just dirt tracks. I've got 2.5 hours to go, about 105 kilometers. Fuel's running a little low for my liking, so I'm freewheeling on the downhill sections now. It's without question the most spectacular ride I've ever done in my life. There's no question about that. Time now is 2 o'clock. 3 hours, 3.5, 3 hours left. What did I say? Or maybe 2.5 hours left. Let me check. 2.5 hours left. Okay, I'm making okay time, but there's no one around. 4 cars in the past hour and 10 minutes. I got waved down by a gentleman at the side of the street, and he just said, "Do you need a hand with anything?" And I said, I'm a little bit low on fuel. Do you know anywhere en route that has fuel? And he said, well, it's 90 kilometers that way, and this is the last town that has fuel. In fact, the town just before me was the last town that has fuel, so I had to turn back right about 300 meters. Ask in a random little shop, not a petrol station, and then someone runs out, a few men are talking away, discussing, and someone comes out with 2 huge plastic bottles with fuel, so just funneling plastic bottles worth of fuel into the Bonneville. It's now fully topped up, so I've got 90 kilometers left, and I'll easily make it. I've got a full spread. I've got Moroccan omelette type thing with olives. I've got Moroccan salad, and this seems really traditional. Lots and lots of tomato, very finely chopped up with some onion, pepper and herbs. I've got a few nuts. I had a few little cakes, and this is always offered. In fact, they don't even ask. It's Moroccan green tea with loads of leaves inside, and again, so typical. A colossal amount of bread every single meal that you have, and finally olives too. I'll let you know the price of this entire spread afterwards. I was talking to the owner's nephew, and he was just giving me some really interesting insight about these little villages. Up until 7 years ago, these villages that I've been passing in the mountains, they had no electricity at all. And it was only a few years ago that they had water. But the water isn't provided by the government. The water is provided by societies that work to help get water to all of these houses. So you notice just here, it's very green and lush. That's because the river's providing all the water here. But when you get further up, it's only thanks to societies that run to help these villages that there's any water out there at all. If it were left to the government, these villages would have no water. So it's been really interesting talking to him. Right, I'm going to tuck in, and then I've got the last, I think, maybe hour I don't think I'm going to be doing 60 kilometers an hour on these roads. Maybe an hour and a half or so to go. That turned into, I think, about a 1.5 hour late lunch. It's now 4 o'clock. They actually speak very good English there, so we were having a lovely chat. And the price? 100 dirham for all of that. And then they brought me out a plate of watermelon as well. So that's 100 dirham for that, which is about £8.50. Breakfast was £1.80-ish. They're normal prices. The 350, about £30 that I paid yesterday evening for dinner, no question, I got ripped off there. So it feels good to be back to normal. Just lovely hospitality, huge tables worth of many different options for food. It's fantastic. Oh, and now the last 90 minutes left of the journey, although that's 90 minutes, I think possibly assuming it's good roads. Maybe for me it'll be about 2.5 hours or so, but I should get in before about 7 o'clock. That, the Renault 4 currently being worked on, is the owner of the restaurant's car, and that's his son trying to fix it because he's just destroyed the ignition. So I think he's desperately trying to fix it before his dad gets too angry. really wanted to set up my camera stand, but it's just way too windy. Have a look at that road. There are the Atlas Mountains in the distance. Mission accomplished on that front. Atlas Mountains traversed. Almost fell. I now need to head off 40 minutes straight in that direction. You can see how much the landscape and the roads have changed. Now they're just arrow straight, and this is without question the worst place I would want to break down because it's desolate. You can't farm here. There's just nothingness. It's flat. I've never seen anything on this scale with so much nothingness riding for so long. I hope this gives some idea of scale, and bear in mind I'm standing in the middle of the road because there's just no one anywhere. Okay, I need to smash it out. I'd like to get there, well, before sunset. I just end up taking so much longer than I always think I would. It's just all so enjoyable, but I'll be honest, fatigue is setting in slightly today because it's a bit later than I usually end up getting in. I made it. I'll go and do an apartment tour in a second. I'm going to spend 2 nights here. Welcome to Ouarzazate, the gateway to the Sahara Desert. There's a painting on the wall in the hotel showing, funnily enough, the exact location that I want to end this entire trip down south. So I'll show you that in a second, but my lord, I felt every one of the miles today. I left at 10 a.m, it's now 7:30 p.m. I feel and look shattered, but it feels amazing, just amazing to have made it. The gateway to the Sahara. I'll go on a walk in a little bit into town. I'll try and show you a few things. I'll do an apartment tour, and then tomorrow morning is the final 20-minute ride to my end destination. My accommodation for the next 2 nights. Bike's secure, which is brilliant. And this is definitely more popular with, let's try and shut that door. It's definitely more popular with European bikers because I've seen more in the past 20 minutes than I have done in the entire 4 or 5 days. God, it's been that long. 4 or 5 days of being in Morocco. So 3 French bikes there. All adventure bikes. Great to see 2 Ducati V85 TTs, my Bonneville all unpacked. I just had a welcome tea there, so when you arrive they give you delicious traditional Moroccan tea. It's just brilliant, an orange tree. And this is the building, really beautiful. My apartment is up 2 flights of stairs, so I'll run up, or Monica will do a bit of speeding up in between. I think this is, I'll double check, about, I think 65 pounds for 2 nights. So it's about 33 pounds a night. I've checked, good Wi-Fi, swimming pool, bathroom, living, well, bedroom area. Nice and simple. But all you need, I haven't even opened this. And you can see a bit of the Ouarzazate skyline in the distance. And a wet room. There. With a table and chairs. And a view out onto the outskirts of Ouarzazate there. I think it even goes one higher. It does. I'll quickly show you up here. Ah, that's better. There we go. So that gives a great view of the skyline of Ouarzazate. I feel like a school teacher, but this is too perfect an opportunity to show the Sahara and the surrounding areas. So this has been my route, Le Haut Atlas. I've come all the way from the northernmost point right the way through the Atlas Mountains. And this is where I am right now, Ouarzazate. Here in Bouthara, that's the Red Desert. Right over on the east, these are Les Dunes de Marzouga. They're the big sand dunes. Here, Ait Ben Haddou. This has been the scene for a number of films, including Lawrence of Arabia and Gladiator. And my end destination for the entire trip, the tiny little oasis, Vale Fint, just off the road from Ouarzazate. Well, this is it. I can't believe it. My end destination, Vale Fint, is 20 kilometers in that direction. An oasis on the edge of the Sahara. I almost can't believe it, but within an hour, I'll have done it. The end of my journey. I could have stopped at any number of places here. It's one of the most unbelievably magical places that I've ever seen in my life. This is the first oasis that I've ever been to. And that descent down where you're just in arid, raw mountains and flat plains with nothing around, and you just drop into this valley. Lush greenery with frogs and fish swimming in these lakes and rivers, leading off into little estuaries where there's luscious plants and palm trees. It's totally, totally mind-blowing and a perfect place to end the trip. The costs. One way, of course, to get down here to the Sahara. It was £210 for accommodation, for everything, for all of the stays that I had. It was £430 for the ferry from the south of England over to Santander on the north. It was £90 for the ferry to Morocco, and I won't count tolls, and I also won't count food, but I'll get to that in a second. So the entire cost, bar food, for everything, for me to get from Ipswich in England down to the Sahara in Morocco, £930, and it took me 8 days, and I covered 1,500 road miles. Food. For example, go to Spain and you're looking about 20% cheaper than the UK. You'll get a meal for around about €10 or something like that. But come to Morocco and you'll get a meal for anything from a simple egg bap, for example, will be £1.80. If you want a proper good sized meal, that'd be £6. And if you want a ridiculous sized meal that takes up a whole table, that will be about £10. So food really is incredibly cheap. It's about £25 a night for a place in Morocco. Of course, you can spend more if you want. And in Spain coming down, it was around about £40. But the trip in general, my final overriding thoughts. Morocco is, and I'm not saying this lightly at all as a throwaway comment, Morocco is everything I dreamt it would be. It's got the character, the tradition. It feels, at least everywhere I went, completely untainted by tourism. Yet it's all wrapped up in such a safe package. I had no idea, I just checked last night. I think it's often ranked as one of the safest countries in the world, and not once have I ever felt remotely in danger or remotely unsafe. I'd happily walk around the streets, every single place I've stayed at, 11 p.m. without any concern at all. Yet it still manages to maintain that rawness, that adventure spirit. I would recommend anyone to come. It's the type of trip, and especially ending here, it genuinely, hand on heart, makes you happy to be alive to come somewhere like this. Tomorrow I head back up to the UK, stopping off in Barcelona. And you know, the only thing I can think now, apart from all this breathtaking beauty, my Lord, I'm a long way from home now.